My name is Garrett Pope, and this is my philosophical tantrum. 21 observations. I want to take a moment to reflect. I can say with the utmost honesty and humility that this is the first time in my life that I've been willing to do so in the fashion in which I'm about to proceed. I want to reflect on my life, how I grew up, how I was raised, the people I have surrounded myself with, how I currently feel, what my beliefs are, and where I can go from here. After a few hours of reflection, this was my first set of observations. My first observation: I am primarily of Western European descent, and my skin color reflects as much. My second observation: I did not choose my mother or my father. I did not choose my mother's mother, nor my father's father, nor their mothers and fathers before them. My third observation: my family likes to sit on the right side of the aisle. My fourth observation: that aisle is lined with pews from front to back. My fifth observation: growing up, I played on the football team in the fall. I competed for the wrestling team in the winter. I participated in baseball in the spring. And I enjoyed camps in the summer. My sixth observation: I am involved in a traditional relationship, the only one that I've ever had. My seventh observation: I have the opportunity to study vectors, rings, fields, eigenspaces, and sets at an institution that is not a high school. My eighth observation: I have only had to go to the hospital once in my life, and I was too young to even remember. My ninth observation: I have only ever lived in houses that accommodate four or more people. My 10th observation: some of my closest friends that I've made over the years are named Bryce, Christopher, Josh, and Jay. My 11th observation: I have multiple family members who have worked on land, in the air, and over sea. My 12th observation: since the time I became an adult, I have always had a formal form of work available. My 13th observation: I come from a family of accountants. Certainly, these observations are honest. I mean, this is my life. This is how I grew up. These are the things that I have been afforded. However, I realize that these things don't define me. These things don't particularly indicate my beliefs or my desires, and they certainly don't determine where I go from here. And so I knew that I had to continue reflecting. This was my second set of observations. My 14th observation: I am inherently closed off to the thinking of groups that oppose what I believe. And I find every reason possible to disagree with these groups. My 15th observation: I find social movements to be a waste of time and that people need to accept the world for the way it is. My 16th observation: I cannot remember a time where I witnessed an explicit, outwardly expressed form of racism. And I've questioned many times how present it really is in our country. My 17th observation: I do not feel as if I have experienced sexism firsthand, and as a result, I also question how prevalent it is in our country. My 18th observation: I cannot truly imagine what oppression would be like because I've never experienced it. These observations, these observations were admittedly shocking because they weren't. Um, I know that these beliefs have been instilled in me by teachers, family, and friends from a very young age. After all, I grew up in a town where everyone was the same. It was upon this revelation that I got really uncomfortable, and I didn't know why. Perhaps it was simply that this was the first time that I said these things to myself out loud. Or perhaps it was something far more meaningful than that. And so it was this feeling of discomfort that led me to my last set of observations, my 19th observation. I am not defined by the beliefs that I once held or the communities that I grew up in. My 20th observation. The way in which I was raised and the experiences that I have can be used for the benefits of others. And my 21st observation. I want to change. But I feel like people won't take me seriously. And that's okay. These 21 observations are a moment of admonition, both for myself and anyone else who is willing to listen. I don't believe that I'm alone in my experience. I have been sheltered in a variety of ways during my adolescent and adult life that I have truly never acknowledged. I know that I have been afforded far more in life than most, and sadly, I can say with absolute brutal honesty that despite all that I've been afforded, the amount of times that I've asked for more or even expected more far exceeds the amount of times where I've been grateful for what I have. This needs to change. My understanding of the world is limited, and my life experiences are few. I am not perfect. I'm not great, but I am human. It is my desire to learn and to grow, regardless of what my peers or anyone else thinks of me. To anyone that may be listening, feel free to rebuke me. I understand. But I have one request. Will you first share your story with me? Thank you.